What's going on, folks? My name's Josh, you can call me Anorian, and it's time for another Anor of Convallaria video, and yes, it's the girl so many y'all have been waiting for. She's officially announced, so I can show y'all Sofia, the commander of the Hanged Men. One of the most anticipated characters who's been coming to sort of Convallaria is officially here, officially has her rate-up banner coming, so we're gonna do our thing. We're gonna hop into the test server. I'm gonna show you all her abilities, her stats, everything you need to know, all the stuff to see if you should pull for her. Now, I want to be clear. She is absolutely, to this day, a tier 0 unit overseas. But again, I want to preface from the beginning. She is not a one-size-fits-all unit. As good as she is, there will be other great DPS characters coming. Alright? So, don't think you absolutely need to pull for her. There are several test cases where it's worth it, but she is not a 100% guaranteed pull. That being said, she is great, and I want to show you everything. And also, she has very different playstyles available to her. I've landed on one that I think is the most fun in my testing with her, that I think gives the most bang for your buck, especially given how most people, I think, are going to want to use her, but I will lay out your options. So let's hop on over to the test server and see. So here we go. Here's the girl, Saffiyah, in all her glory. All right. She is a Seeker character. She is the first Seeker character available to pull on a debut banner. Her title is HM Commander, of course short for Hanged Men Commander. She has base movement 5, which is very nice, which Seekers tend to be very mobile. 2 jump as per usual, all of that good stuff. Now, I will show you, she is kind of middling in speed. 179 speed, has great physical attack, is useful in that. She equips swords, let me get that out of the way now, although I think most people kind of presumed that, given the art, given everything, but she is a sword character, so she will compete with the likes of Garcia, or Cole, or Mytha, if you're using them, or no, Rowea uses axes, but so generally you may be not running multiple Seekers, but if you are running, say, Mytha as your defender, there will be some clash there in terms of which weapons you're utilizing. For affiliations, Saffiyah is an area unit and a discipline unit. For discipline, she brings some very, very cool stuff to the party. She is the available Seeker for discipline. She's the only game in town if you want to have one. But that's not really her calling. Her true calling and where she is at her most potential power is with area units. And she actually stacks with other area units. She plays amazingly with Dantalion and his aura. She plays excellently with several of these units. The thing is, Saffiyah, as you're going to see, is the queen of Hanged Men's Mark, which obviously plays with Dantalion, who's got the leadership aura that not only raises attack and defense, but also gives further damage boosted if you can get multiple debuffs on an enemy, and Hanged Men's Mark counts as one of those. So, Saffiyah's trait, I've got her at 2 stars because of how we have to get her, and just that's where I put her. But at the beginning, her trait is called Thorny Rose. And at level 1, it's at the start of the turn, Saffiyah locks onto one random enemy within 4 tiles of herself and inflicts the Hanged Men's Mark for 1 turn. Standard stuff. Whenever she attacks an enemy with the Hanged Men's Mark on it, she deals additional damage equal to 16% up. It should say equal to up to 16% of the target's HP, but no more than 150% of Saffiyah's physical attack. So obviously I don't have a weapon on her, but hypothetically, if it was right now, it's up to 16% of an enemy's HP, but it's capped out, if it was, say, at level 1, at 150% of this. So roughly 1,353-ish HP max, which is good. But in other words, it's just a cap on there to where, let's just say you're facing a weapon boss that'll have, say, 20,000 HP. You can't just chunk off 3,200 damage with that effect, right? So, at star rank 2, basically, it is mostly the same, except in addition to grabbing 16% of a target's HP and capped like that and everything, it also generates 50% lifesteal for your damage. So Saffiyah has a good little bit of sustain on the stuff she does, right? She actually heals herself with her attacks. That's one of the things that makes her such a good unit. Getting it to 3 stars, now it affects 2 enemies within 4 tiles of herself, and the damage gets boosted to 24% of the target's HP, capped at 175% of her physical attack. Level 4 is the one sort of like, kind of skippable level. If you get her, you definitely want to get her to at minimum 3 stars. 4 stars, the only real upgrade is that instead of being for 1 turn, the Hangman's Mark now lasts for 2 turns, which is good, but not game-breaking. And the 50% lifesteal goes up to 75%. Again, good, but not breaking. If you're taking her past 3 stars, you want to go to 5 stars. Where the jump becomes, instead of enemies within 4 tiles of herself, it affects enemies within 6 tiles of herself. And 24% of their health damage goes up to 32%, and the cap goes up to 200% of her physical attack. So essentially, whenever she hits an enemy, especially at 5 stars, with the Hanged Men's Mark, she deals a massive additional chunk of damage, and this won't be the only extra damage she does, as you'll see as we break down her build, and also gets a huge bit of lifesteal, which is essentially her main deal. Huge extra blows of damage and some sustain. At base, she has just a standard ceiling attack, right? She has just I read that out. She has basic slash, deals 100% physical damage, and her basic skill is Hunting Impulse, okay? Hunting Impulse deals 130% damage before attacking, boosts her crit rate. If she kills the enemy, it restores 3 NRG. The skill costs 3 NRG, so if she kills the enemy, it is essentially free, and it should be noted, that it has no turn cooldown, so it's stackable. I don't have it on my build because this is what I found was the most fun playing around for me, but you'll have some options. But let us go into the thing. This is one of the few characters where, because she has so many tools available, I went ahead and Castalia to everything. I do have an opinion on one rank I feel you should Castalia. The rest of them, it's all mileage may vary. So at rank 1, you can choose between Settlement of the Hanged Men or Shadow Assault. Shadow Assault is a skill some other Seeker characters do possess. It is an attack for 130% damage, and then she gains 1 stack of dodge. Very, very good. Not what I would pick for this level. What I would pick is Settlement of the Hanged Man. Whenever she, after an attack, if the target is dying and has the Hanged Man's Mark, she deals additional piercing damage equal to 30% of the target's HP. Remember, dying as a status kicks in at 30% HP. In other words, on any enemy that she marks with Hanged Man's Mark, if her attack knocks the enemy down to the dying range, which knocks them down to essentially 29.9% HP, they die. It just follows up with a kill shot. It is a remarkably powerful move. Okay? Then you get up to rank 3. Like, this is 100% what I would pick. It's obviously you're allowed to grab Shadow Assault, but Settlement of the Hanged Man is what you want. Rank 3 has 2 good options. I actually don't use them in my current build with her, but they're both very good. It goes to show you she's got a lot of versatility. On the one hand, she has Shadowless Blade, which gives, whenever you use it for 1 turn, she basically gets it to where she will dodge a single direct attack at her, and she will do a strike back in a 3x4 area in that direction, dealing 85% physical damage and inflicting vulnerable 2 for 2 turns, which increases the damage taken by enemies by 20%. The only thing about this skill is you don't want to throw her out there as bait. Despite her sustain, Saffiyah does not have like a ton of like defense and health to just be taking hits. Obviously, there is the fact that it gives her dodge, but you have to throw her into a dangerous situation to use it. And if you want the most out of AoE, it would have to be a dangerous situation with multiple enemies. Dodge is only going to proc once, so she is still going to get hit afterwards, most likely. So I've found that it's a fun skill, but it's less useful than you think in practical application, which is why it's not on my current build. The other skill is Tactic Adjustment. It's an instant skill. She selects any target within range of up to 3 spaces of her, changes her role to match the target. That's actually really useful because you can use it on allies or on enemies. So if you have an enemy you need to get rid of, and say, you know, you're defeating enemies and suddenly you're facing down a big defender. Well, if you've got a breaker on your team, you can use this and boom, turn her into a breaker. Now she has the attack advantage against them. Comes up more than you'd think. It's not always, it is a niche skill, but it is possible to be useful more than you think. I found I used this plenty while I was testing. It just didn't end up being my shtick. okay? It didn't end up being what I decided on for a build, and I think when you see all the skills coalesce together, you'll understand why I settled on the build I did, but this is a good one. It also grants her Disguise until the start of her next turn, which decreases the damage she takes by 30% and increases her movement by 2. And remember, this is an instant skill, so essentially, even if she goes the full max distance she can use before moving it, she'll get an extra 2 spaces she can move afterwards. Rank 5, I think, is very easy to pick. I think it's the only one answer, and it's not Vital Guard. Vital Guard makes it so that when she is hit with an attack, the damage taken is decreased by 8%. If she is dying afterwards, she gains 1 stack of dodge. I would rather go with Blade Chase. Blade Chase is whenever enemies with the Hangman's Mark are attacked within 3 tiles of her, she does an assisting attack dealing 50% physical damage once per turn. Again, the whole idea is where she shines is with Hanged Men's Mark on a Hanged Men's Mark team. So you want to be inflicting Hanged Men's Mark and then like stacking all your character's attacks and abilities against the enemy to where you can get all this residual damage and like quickly burn down enemy HP. So giving her an additional attack to toss on top of everything, to me, makes the most sense. And it can be triggered once every turn. It doesn't have any cost. Rank 7 is the rank where I feel you should use a Castalia. Both of these skills are incredible. One is incredible no matter what, and it just gets better the more you focus in on it. The other is just really useful. Anti-espionage order is the one that's really useful. She summons a Hanged Man agent behind any given target from 1 to 3 spaces around her that has 85% of her attributes. She has very good stats, so while it won't be perfect, it will be pretty damn strong. It will also inflict the Hanged Men's Mark, if they don't already have it, physical defense down 2 and magical defense down 2 on that target for 2 turns. Okay? She summons an ally, lowers their defenses, and makes sure they have Hanged Men's Mark, which that ally can then attack them, which can then trigger Blade Chase, which can also, if the enemy is dying after the Blade Chase, like you see where all this stuff starts stacking together as far as her usefulness. The other skill is HM Commando. This is an aura, but it is not a leadership aura. So it does not clash with any of the leadership auras you may have, whether she's in Discipline or in Area. And so you will want to run it. And it makes it so all allies within 5 tiles of her gain a 15% bonus to their attack when attacking enemies with the Hanged Men's Mark. Especially once you get her up to rank 3 stars and you're hitting multiple enemies within a good range of her with Hanged Men's Mark, the enemies around her are going to have Hanged Men's Mark. So this is a 15% attack bonus to all the allies attacking enemies around her. That's huge. That's really, really powerful. It's why I then make the decision I do on rank 9, but I think this is just a gimme. I think both of these skills are incredible. This is a rank, if you go for Sofia, use a Castalia on rank 7. You're going to want both of these abilities. If you decide because you want to, have the ability to do things like Shadow Assault if it should come to it, or, have the ability to swap or whatever, that you want to Castalia other ranks, your mileage may vary. I think you can skip the Castalia in rank 5. I tried Vital Guard. It just wasn't worth it to me. And your mileage may vary on the lower skills. I think you basically need to Castalia rank 7 with her. It is just too useful. It is just too effective. Rank 9, you have 2 choices. Sealing Attack keeps her at her 100% attack damage, and also locks down passive skills on injured targets before attacking, which is useful, but I would rather go with Team Attack, especially given everything else I built up. It does lower her damage to 80% physical damage, but it gives the closest other ally to her speed up 3 and attack up 1. So it makes it so that they act faster, which can be useful in several circumstances, and also gives them a slight attack boost. I feel like her boosting another ally's damage by 10% and getting them to act sooner is better than the attack she loses on her own, especially when you count the fact that that enemy is likely going to then benefit from HM Commander, that enemy is likely then going to benefit from Blade Chase. If she tosses anti-espionage on them first, that enemy is going to have their defense down anyways. Like, that is to me the way to go. You have Area, you have Saffiyah focus on being a commander. She is a commander of her troops. And so the idea is that she is buffing her troops alongside her own incredible damage to really burn down the enemy as a cohesive unit. Rank 11, I have not really tested because I don't think I need to. I'm just being honest here. I don't think this is a difficult decision at all. Weapon Eroder is one of the choices. Single target attack deals piercing damage equal to 30% of the target's HP, then inflicts attack down 2 for 2 turns. This is very, very specifically useful against, like, weapon bosses, and that is basically it. Like, it is not going... She is so strong, and she has other methodologies of debuffing her opponents, things like that. That is not where her strength lies. You want to get Army Baneblade. Army Baneblade is a single target attack that deals 170% damage. And before attacking, she isolates the enemy so they don't get the benefit of any aura effects. And then after dealing damage, they are unable to get any sort of assists to benefit them or anything like that. It is a really, really powerful attack. Really, really powerful. A 170% boost. Then you got to factor in they probably have HM Commander active because the enemy, if she's attacking, is probably going to have Hanged Man's Mark. So now you got a 15% bonus to attack. Like, that is absurd. It is 100% what you need to go with. Does Weapon Eroder have a use? Yes. I feel its uses are too limited versus the absolute beat stick death shot, which is Army Baneblade. That being said, I don't even know if you want to use it. My actual build for her is Team Attack, Blade Chase, Anti-Espionage Order, Settlement of the Hanged Men, and HM Commander. And what this build does is Saffiyah rolls out, she starts attacking enemies, anyone who comes near her gets Hanged Men's Mark, she attacks them, she deals bonus damage, life steals onto herself. Also, she can go ahead and summon an agent behind the enemy, dealing out extra damage on them. Then she kicks in with Blade Chase, hitting them additionally. When enemies are down in dying state, she just wipes them off the map. It is just such a good, fun kill build. Here's the thing. I brought up before with the combat, she actually pairs really nicely with Discipline. Like, really nicely. Not just because she's the only Seeker in town for them, but also because if you get a combo and you have Inanna, like, obviously you would want all 3 of them, because they're great, but a combo summons summons, units that you can use. Inanna has the Princess Guard you can summon. HM Agent is a summoning unit, and Akambe's buff, his leadership aura, gives bonus to all summoned units for their damage. Like, it's not perfect, though, because she's the only one who's really going to be benefiting from Hanged Men's Mark, other than, of course, anyone pulling off of HM Commander. So it's not perfect, but, like, she works basically automatically because some of what the others bring to the table. Specifically, if you have a combo, she absolutely works for the group because her HM Agent will get a buff, and then if she's inflicting Hanged Men's Mark on units, all of their summoned units are just absolutely mollywopping enemies. 100% worth considering there. Her absolute strongest group, though, and it's not even close, is Iria, because of her usage of Hanged Men's Mark. You could absolutely roll Dantalion, roll Sofia, and then go ahead. I think Nungal works effectively well. You have Mytha already if you just want a good defender to chuck in the way, and whoever else you want, and you can grab any of these other Hanged Men's Mark users and just blitzkrieg enemies. As far as rankings go, without question, if you are running an Iria team, and if you are running a Hanged Men's Mark team, Saffiyah is a 10 out of 10 must pull. There is no question about it. I did say there were certain use cases to pull for her. I'm telling you right now, if you are running Iria and if you are running a Hanged Men's Mark based team, she is a must pull unit. You've just gotta get her. She is excellent. She will be the crowning jewel piece of that team. If you're running Discipline, I think she's very good. Let me specify. If you're running Discipline with a combo, I think she is probably, at that point, a 9.5 out of 10. Not necessarily a need to pull, but you should strongly consider it because those two really do synergize well with each other. Granted, she doesn't synergize perfectly, but she brings a Seeker to the team. Her damage is going to be great no matter what. Like, she is an excellent unit for that squad. If you just need a Seeker, she is still a 9 out of 10. I did say before, she's not a perfect unit, but she's a great unit. If you just need a Seeker, or even if you have a Seeker and you're like, should I just generally pull for her? She's a 9 out of 10. She is still a relevant unit. Like, at this point, what would be roughly 9 to 10 months ahead of us content-wise overseas? Like, she's not going to be outdated within the next year. She will eventually be power crept if you plan to play this game for a long time, which there are people, I know myself, there are several different gotchas I played where I've lasted for a year and a half, 2 years, 3 years. At some point you will get power crept, but it's going to take a while. So it's worth considering her no matter what. I think if you're pulling Iria and you're pulling Hanged Men, you have to pull for her. There's no excuse not to. If you're pulling for Discipline, you should consider it. If you have a Combe and you're pulling for Discipline, you should extra consider it. If you just need a Seeker, if you just need a good, powerful damage-dealing unit, she is worth considering. One caveat. We don't know when further future units are coming out yet. I can tell you right now, as of this recording, I do not know who's following Saffiyah. It might be August. If you're pulling specifically because you're sitting here like, I need a really, really strong damage dealer, honestly, it might be better to wait for August. He hits like a freight train. So that's why I'm saying she's not perfect. She's absolutely not perfect. But she's highly mobile. She's got good sustain because of her ability. She's really powerful. And she looks dope as hell. She's got a lot of excellent use cases. So she's definitely worth considering. But at the end of the day, the big question is, are you going to pull for her? So please, leave me a shout out down below. Comment, let me know. Are you pulling for Saffiyah? Are you one of the many, many people who have been saving gems for this exact day, hoping to see her come down the line? Is she going to be like the centerpiece that finally finishes your team? Or are you actually skipping? I'll be honest with you. I'm skipping Saffiyah. I know I could build Discipline, but I think I'm going to go a Discipline route that does not include her. I've got Leonide, I've got Simona, I've got Inanna. I think I want to try something else for her personally, and I'm not building Iria. So I'm actually skipping Saffiyah. I understand. A lot of people are going to think that's sacrilegious, especially from a content creator, but I don't need her, and I don't think she benefits me more than some other characters who are coming down the line. So, I'm going to be skipping, and I'm okay with that decision. But please let me know what you're going to do, and as per usual, if you could leave a like, if you could leave a comment, if you could subscribe if you're not, all that useful YouTube stuff, it really helps me as I'm pushing more stuff out. And other than that, as per usual, I love y'all, appreciate y'all, thank y'all. Until next time, I'll catch you later, fam. Alright.